Welcome to another edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up. During this program, we will highlight the agenda items presented to the Lakeville City Council at their March 3rd, 2014 meeting. First highlighted item on the agenda is item number 5B, Fire Department Annual Report. And to give the background information on this agenda item is Fire Chief Mike Meyer.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'd like to present the Lakeville Fire Department 2013 Annual Report. And I'll start with our mission statement. The Lakeville Fire Department is dedicated to serving the community through the protection of lives and property by providing public safety education and professional emergency response. And following with our mission statement, how we look at fire inspections is our opportunity to get out into the community and do education as far as the businesses that we go into. We conducted 443 commercial building inspections, 16 commercial/home daycare inspections. And you can see some of the things that we find, and that's our opportunity when we educate them on what we find, the reasons behind it as far as the fire code and what we're looking for the corrective actions on that. Fire prevention visits. In 2013, we had 1,017 hours that firefighters went out and did fire prevention visits, 166 hours of station tours. Some of those things that those hours are from the Dakota County Fire Prevention Day, the safety camps that we partner with the Parks Department, Night to Night with the Police Department when we go out and visit all the parties that are happening on that Tuesday in August. One I would like to highlight that we did new in April was that we partnered with Lina, the Family Swim School, and Heart Restart, and we held an hour training session at each of the fire stations where we did hands-only training, CPR, and then the Family Swim School talked about water safety for the month of May because that is Water Safety Month. On top of those hours, we also had our Fire Prevention Month in October. So the dates up there from September 27th to October 25th are the dates that we go out and we do visits and tours. We conducted 46 presentations at schools or daycares. We did 22 additional station tours where we had 15 firefighters help out with those. And again, in October, our open house that we had at Station 4, we had a great night for weather. We had a lot of people come out. Some of the things that you can see in the pictures there are our safety house in the top left, where family and kids get to go in, learn about kitchen safety, fireplace safety, and then practice evacuating from a bedroom in a smoke-filled environment. The two pictures right below that are the fire sprinkler demonstration unit, where we actually have a fire with a sprinkler head in there that puts out the fire that you see. And the two big hits at the bottom, you only have one picture up on the top right, but is the auto extrication and the car fire demo. We get a lot of people to come and watch and see how that works out. Our incident numbers in 2013, and I'll start with how we ended in the fourth quarter. We had 217 calls, which is down compared to 2012 and slightly ahead of 2011. Looking at our 10-year comparison, though, you can see in 2013 we've increased to 884 calls in that year, and you can see from 2010 to current that we've slowly been climbing up in call numbers again. Our response times, this looks at 3 years back, and the red is indicating 2013. You can see 76% of the time we have a truck or a unit on scene in under 10 minutes. Over 10 minutes is 24%. Two things, pieces of information as far as our response times go. One thing that we've been doing a lot more lately as far as when we respond to a call, depending on what we hear for information, we may downgrade the units as far as that they're not running lights and sirens to the call, or slow them to that, or we may not even turn them on depending again on what that information is. The other piece of information as far as the times, how they're calculated is depending on the call type. So if it's a medical, the first unit on scene that stops the time or the clock can be a staff vehicle, a fire chief vehicle, or one of the district chiefs. But if it's a structure fire, it has to be an engine or a unit capable of handling that scene. Call types from 2013, our top four main call types are false alarms, good intent, medical assist, and vehicle accidents. The one thing I'll mention on false alarms, those include commercial fire alarms and residentials, and we've seen an increase with the season that we've had this winter for residential home fire or smoke detectors going off. And that's a little bit from the weather itself. The other side of it is just some housekeeping issues that dirty detectors will generate a false alarm as far as if there's dust in them that they'll trip. And the other side of it is the age of the detector. Most smoke detectors have an average lifespan of about 15 years. So if you've been in your house longer than that, you should look at replacing that detector. Years of service as far as department members go, you can see We're at 58% of our department members are less than 10 years experience level. The remainder is from 10 to 20 plus years. And following with that, in 2013, we did hire two groups of rookies. We started one in January and also one in July. And if you look at Station 2 and 4, those were our January group that we hired. They have completed their Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, and their medical training. The July group is Stations 1 and 3. They've completed their Firefighter 1 and 2, and they will finish up their medical training this month. I'd like to highlight one big item we did for training in 2013, and that's the hostile event, or the 3 Echo training that we did. This all started with about 10 police officers, 10 firefighters attending a 3 Echo training is what we called it. And that was sponsored by the Dakota County Domestic Preparedness Committee. With that, those 10 individuals, as far as police and fire, went back to their departments, went over what that training was about, and then in turn, we as police and fire departments with Alina and DCC went and did 3 days of training out at the scale facility of going through how we integrate and responding to those events. Then we followed that up with district-wide training in August with all of the school district employees at Lakeville North, and did a full day training with them as far as if an event occurs, what are the expectations of the teachers or the staff, what they should be doing, and then also what is the expectation from the first responders coming into the building. And this training that we did as far as Lakeville has spawned or grown immensely, as far as Lakeville kind of led the charge in bringing this training not only just to police and fire departments, but also to the businesses surrounding us. So not only have we done the school district, we've been to All Saints, and to name a few of the other ones. So some of the highlights for 2013, we held our annual banquet on March 23rd. You can see we were well attended with retirees and active members that were there. Jesse Neergaard from Station 2 was nominated as Rookie of the Year. Paul Miskimen, also from Station 2, was nominated as Firefighter of the Year. In May, we held our 3rd annual blood drive. We had 18 hours volunteered by the firefighters, where we collected 68 units of blood, which was 10 above our goal of 58. So we keep continually growing that as far as increasing our goals. In July, we held the waffle breakfast at the Panaprog, and you can see we served 1,591 people. And if you remember that morning, we had about 5 to 6 inches of rain to start the day. So still a very good number for about a 2-hour delay, and it worked on our plan B and C of how we could get people inside the building without letting them stand outside getting wet. Later in the afternoon, the firefighters got to bring the trucks out in the parade during the Panaprog parade. And then in July 18th, we held our grand opening for the newly reconstructed Able facility where we do our live burn training. This project started in the fall of 2012, where we demoed the 2 existing buildings that were there from 1987. This building was erected over that footprint of both those buildings into a 3-story burn building with a 4-story stair tower attached to it. The uniqueness about this building is every floor we can burn in each room. So we have approximately about 5 rooms per floor that we can burn in, versus the old one we had 1 single room that we could do our live burn training in. Retiree meetings, we continue to meet with the retirees twice a year, usually in the spring and the fall. It's either hosted at the VFW or we host at one of the fire stations.
Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 5C, Public Works Monthly Report. And to provide the background information regarding this agenda item is Public Works Director Chris Petrie.
And I think the picture we have opening up the slide presentation here kind of sums up the entire month of February and this winter, for that matter, as we've seen a lot of statistics in the media the last few days. I believe we've had the 9th snowiest winter on record, or something. We're getting into the top 10. 9th coldest, 50 days below zero, so it's been significant, and our crews have struggled maintaining our roadways through this entire stretch in February, specifically blowing snow. And as I've already mentioned, we were faced with snow and blowing snow throughout the month. The most significant amount coming on February 20th and 21st, where we received about 10 inches of snow. And as the council would recall, we had blowing snow conditions for multiple days during this period of time, where we had sustained winds of 20 plus miles an hour with wind gusts over 40 miles an hour. This required our crews to battle the conditions with a multitude of equipment, but we really needed to rely on some of our heavier equipment that was in the previous slide and contained in this slide as well, which includes our motor grader and our large snowblower that you see in the photos here in the previous slide, like I mentioned, to get through some of the most treacherous spots that we have in the community. Along with the winter conditions on our roadways, we've also had to deal with some of our hydrant repairs in the winter, and this has caused, it's inevitable, of course, over the course of winter that vehicles wander from the roadways and they can damage such things you've seen across the community as signs or fire hydrants. And you can see this photo here. This was a recent day in February where our Utilities Division staff responded to a report of a fire hydrant that was damaged. Just so the council's aware and everyone else listening, fire hydrants are designed to break off at the ground, and the intent of that is to minimize the damage to the hydrant and also the object that's striking the hydrant. It's not like you see in most of the cartoons where water sprays up in the air. They just simply flop off, and our crews are called to come repair them. And our utilities staff, as you can see in the photos, was able to make the necessary repairs to the hydrant. And the bottom right photo, you can see one of our staff members there operating the hydrant to make sure it works correctly, and then that line and that hydrant was put right back into service. Also, we're dealing with some very interesting circumstances this winter with frozen water services. The pictures here aren't actually frozen water services. That's a water main break that occurred in February. But I wanted to talk, we've talked about water main breaks quite a bit in the past, but wanted to talk about frozen water services. And the frost in the ground has really reached uncharacteristic levels. I personally have been in public works for about 20 years. I've never seen the depths that frost has reached, at least impacting some of our utility services. We've caused or had frozen services in Lakeville. So far this winter, we've had about 10, which really isn't that bad compared to some communities. If you've read in the paper, communities such as Minneapolis and St. Paul that have had hundreds of frozen services, but definitely communities of comparable size to Lakeville have had 50 or 100 frozen services. So we're very fortunate that we've only had about 10. When the city receives a call of a frozen service, our staff works with the property owner to thaw the service, and we either use electricity or we use hot water to jet out the line. We have a couple different options that we do to clear up the line. I'm happy to say all of our services are now open and thawed, but even as time goes on, we continue to get at least one or more seems like every day that we get a report of a frozen service. Last slide for you this evening is just to talk about some major fleet repairs, and you can see some major repairs by the entire front end of this tandem plow truck being pulled off and in the photos. But I wanted to mention our fleet technicians. I've talked about them in the past, stay very busy throughout the course of the year, but in the winter, of course, they're especially busy maintaining our 400+ pieces of equipment in the city's fleet. But all of these fleet technicians also have their own dedicated plow routes. They all plow snow for us as well. So this winter has kept them very busy, not only performing their snow and ice control responsibilities, but due to the type of winter we've had, they've also had a number of repairs on this equipment to keep it operating and keep it functioning. So recently, as you can see by the photos in front of you, our fleet staff tackled a major repair on this tandem axle plow truck. Repairs included replacing the radiator and some other major engine components, but they were able to get the truck back on the road very quickly. And as I've mentioned, our fleet technicians do provide a variety of repairs throughout the year, and it's very fortunate that they have this thorough knowledge that can help us through some very significant repairs like this when necessary. And that does conclude our February 2014 monthly report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 7, consider application of Shamrock Development for the preliminary plat of 49 single-family lots to be known as Chokecherry Hill 3rd Edition. And to provide the information regarding this agenda item is City Planner Darrell Morey.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
And council members.
Good evening.
As Mr. Stanton had indicated, this is a preliminary plat of 49 single-family lots, Chokecherry Hill 3rd Edition. It's located in the northeast quadrant of Dodd Boulevard, also known as County Road 9, and 190th Street. The property is approximately 19 acres in size, and it's zoned RST2, single and two-family residential district, and one of the uses that's allowed in the RST2 district is the single-family 70-foot wide lots. The preliminary plat, and I used a very similar graphic just a couple of weeks ago when I was presenting the Chokecherry Hill second edition. This is all of the three Chokecherry Hill editions on one plan. The third edition is outlined in the orange highlighter. The first edition, which was approved last year, is located to the east, and that was 67 single-family lots. The second edition, the very northerly portion of 21 single-family lots, was approved by the City Council at their February 18th meeting. As an FYI, the developer has submitted the final plat for both the second and third editions combined, and that should be at your meeting, first meeting in April. Mr. Stanton did mention a couple outlots. There's one outlot in the southeast corner that includes a storm ponding area and also a segment of Greenway Corridor Trail. This doesn't show up too well. It's shown in green, but that trail, which comes out of the Donley Farm development and the Summerlin development eventually to the south, traverses through the middle of Chokecherry Hill and will connect up with the properties to the north when they develop and continue on to the north and east portion of the city. Outlot B is located adjacent to this exception parcel, single-family home that fronts Dodd Boulevard. There is a future concept plan that shows the future development of that outlot in combination with the exception parcel into 3 single-family lots that would front on Iden Way and be part of the Chokecherry Hill development. That will likely occur at such time as the Dodd Boulevard Improvement Project is done. Part of that improvement will be right-of-way acquisition, which would impact that exception parcel. And the developer is dedicating additional right-of-way for the widening of Dodd to accommodate that upgrade, and that would be part of a future land swap. The development also will be part of, like the other Chokecherry Hill additions and Summerlin North and the Summerlin projects to the south side, part of the 190th Street improvements that will start this summer. Those improvements will take place between Dodd Boulevard and Holyoke Avenue. Currently it is a gravel roadway, and that'll be upgraded to an urban section, paved with curb and gutter. Mr. Stanton did address the turn lanes that will be part of the Dodd and 190th Street intersection, and those details are being worked through with the county, again, as part of the Dodd upgrade project. There's an ultimate design, but there will be interim improvements in the meantime between now and then. Park dedication will be a combination of land for the Greenway Corridor and cash. And the Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on this preliminary plat request at their February 20th meeting and unanimously recommended approval. There was no public comment at that meeting, but there was a significant snowfall event that night, as well, as you heard from Mr. Petrie a few minutes ago. The Park, Rec, and Natural Resources Committee also recommends approval of this preliminary plat, as does staff, and our approval is subject to the 7 stipulations which are listed in my February 12th planning report, and I can stand for questions.
Item number 7 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Well, those were some of the highlighted items presented to the council at their March 3rd, 2014 meeting. If you have any questions or comments regarding these agenda items, please feel free to call City Hall. The number is 952-985-4400. Thanks for watching this edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up.
Hey, it's Joe. With all the snow we've received this season, it's important not to make snow forts at the end of your driveway. Get Kids love to create tunnels or forts in snowbanks, and it can be great fun. But when snowplows are plowing, they move a lot of snow very quickly. If you are in a snow cave when they plow by, you could get buried or severely hurt. So play it safe, snow lovers. Keep snow forts away from streets and plows. Okay, who wants to build a snow monster? Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha.